everyone and welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show you most likely decided to watch because you saw Nautilus in the thumbnail and you're wondering what the heck is happening with him. The good news is, he's not the only one with good news behind him, so as always, first, let's have a look at what is happening in League. Besides the small things like the High Noon and EDG skins being tested on PvE and the release of the new Gangplank and Yasuo skins, and some new loot coming with MSI, speaking of which MSI is coming in 2 days, Riot also released 2 posts talking about new things. First of all, they announced that challenges are coming to live servers next week. In their post, they basically talked about how challenges work. Long story short, it's achievements. If you're interested in the titles you can get from the challenges, we covered all 100 of them in our video. In their other post, they talked about the fact that there is too much damage in League of Legends. Oftentimes the kill numbers are getting out of hand. So Riot will be turning it down a bit. Now, even after the changes, if a champion is fed, they will burst you anyway. Their goal is not to remove burst damage from the game. It is fine if a champion can kill you with their full combo after using all of their abilities. But Riot doesn't like it when a champion only uses 2 of their abilities and kills you anyway. So what Riot will try to do is make squishier champions more tanky. This doesn't sound like a massive change, but I wonder if, on average, it is going to increase the duration of games. But that's really it when it comes to the news around League. There is the fact that Karina's unlocked statue returned to the store. Apparently this was such a big deal they made a post about it. But now let's move on to TFT. Last time we talked about the fact that the next set will be called Dragonlance, which also means that Gizmos and Gadgets will be slowly wrapping up. So, in case you missed it, the championship for Gizmos and Gadgets happened at the beginning of this month, where Lailu became the champion, and let me tell you, the trophy looks really awesome. I just really wanted to point it out. Anyway, Riot gave us 2 posts talking about the future of TFT, one about cosmetics and one about gameplay. And because everyone likes skins, let's talk about the cosmetics first. Here, at the beginning of the post, they quickly mentioned that people who tried the new set were 4 times as likely to keep playing. This shows you how much of a success augments are. So as they approach the last patch of the set, they wanted to give it the send-off it deserves. With a sale! First there will be an Arcane Chibi sale. Echo, Vi and Jinx will now be available for 1380 RP. And they will also still come with the bundled Boom. It's just a shame I don't like the Chibi style. Then they revealed the ranked rewards for this set. This time around we are getting one of my favorite little legends, Talker. There is the victorious version for reaching gold or higher, and the triumphant version for reaching gold or higher in both halves of the set. Then we got more news on the Ruined Pengu that was data mined more than 6 months ago. The Ruined Pengu that is different from Ruined Pengu. This one will come from a bundle of Joy Ruination for 650 RP. It will contain the Pengu and 3 eggs, one from each of the last Little Legends packs. But that's it for the cosmetics, so now let's have a look at the other post. It is quite a long one, so here's the TLDR version. When it comes to TFT's mechanical complexity, they are aware of the fact that they have a lot of systems active. There are augments, radiant items, spatulas and traits. They will make sure TFT doesn't feel overwhelming to new players, but they still feel like there is room for more exploration. When it comes to balance thrashing, they are happy with the latest set, as pretty much every comp stayed relevant in nearly every patch. And this set brought in the most unique traits so far, with Colossus, Mutant and Yordle changing how you play the game. They also mentioned an interesting new balance design that worked out this set. You see, when people believe that a unit is overpowered, it doesn't matter by how much you nerf them. If you nerf the unit, a lot of people will believe that that unit is bad now. So this set, when people believed that Irelia was overpowered, Riot nerfed her only a tiny bit and suddenly everyone thought she was fine. While Riot has the numbers and they know that the units are balanced, it is better to using the illusion of nerfing them instead of leaving them be to make the community happy. So since after the nerf it made people play her less, which also made her appear less overpowered, it worked out on all fronts, so we should see more of this in the future. When it comes to 5 costs, Riot likes their new way of designing them. They have the new 5:3 ratio of 5 carries and 3 utility. There are some issues like Akali being too item dependent, and Victor's spells being a bit too difficult to pull off, but after Akali was changed for Zeri and the rest was balanced, everything was pretty good. So this set 5 costs were in a really good place. So expect to see the 5:3 ratio more in Dragonlance. When it comes to ranked, a lot of people like the fact that you can't demote between ranks anymore. This made climbing feel a lot better, but Riot knows that they can make the experience even smoother. When it comes to Hyper Roll, this game mode is so popular it will stay in for Dragonlance, at least in some regions. But after Dragonlance we should be expecting a brand new game mode to replace it. But don't worry, it should be another fast-paced game mode to replace its purpose. When it comes to variants and novelty, Riot likes how this set you could run into really unusual scenarios, like leveling up to level 9 and then getting the high-end shopping augment, or running mercenaries so you can 3-star Tahm Kench, or what if you get the build different trait 3 times? Not only does Riot like these weird scenarios, but they will make it a priority to have them in the next set. From personal experience, I have to agree, I really like these too. There will also be less reprints of units from other sets. For example, this time around we got Draven, who also appeared in the previous sets. And according to Riot's numbers, people played Draven less because they already knew him. So in the future, when it comes to 3 cost and 4 cost, they will try to always include new units. There may still be reprints in the 1 and 2 cost categories. Expect the exact same thing happening to traits too. They will try to not make any reprints, but some may still come back. When it comes to the new item system, they are changing it too. Sometimes it may be frustrating how you get caster items at the beginning, so you go for a caster comp, and then raptors give you only blades and bows. So during Dragonlance they will be trying something new that will make sure you never feel cheated for items again. What I expect will happen is that raptors will give you item tokens, which you can then use to get specific items. That way you can avoid the randomness. And lastly, when it comes to spatulas, Riot knows that this set spatulas have not been that exciting. You couldn't really make a blender nocturne again. So in the future, Riot will try to make sure that at least some of the spatulas can transform an entire comp. At the very end of the post, they also mentioned that augments still have some room to grow, and they are still asking questions like, are 3 augments the perfect number? Are augments powerful just enough? Do they disturb the rules? And what kind of augments have they not explored yet? So in the next set, with all of these questions being asked, we should expect a lot better balancing when it comes to the augments, which also means removal of dead augments. But that is it for TFT, so now let's move on to Wild Rift. In Wild Rift we got a brand new video that previews the newest patch. From their last video you may remember that they called the year 2022 the Year of Edgelords.
The Year of the Edgelord.
And then they teased that we will get new champions from Bilgewater, Noxus and Zaun. The Bilgewater and Zaun champions were revealed in that video, but the Noxian champion still stays as a mystery. So, when it comes to the edgiest champion of Bilgewater, of course we're talking about Nautilus. Right? Look at all those edges. Anyway, as always, the HD model is amazing. It looks gorgeous. Which is why I love it so much when it cuts directly to the in-game model. It's a reminder it is a mobile game after all. Regardless, Nautilus behaves the exact same way as he does in League. Thankfully, Nautilus actually wasn't the edgy champion from Bilgewater, and so we are also getting Pyke. And my god, he looks amazing too. And just like Nautilus, he's also the exact same as he is in League, down to his passive and his resetting ultimate. When it comes to Zaun, the edgy champion of that place is Echo! Seriously, can they pick someone with a sharp weapon at least? He's not really the edgiest champion of Zaun, but we'll go with it. Yes, he also behaves the exact same way as he does in League. They mentioned that since Echo appears in every other Riot game, they are happy to finally bring him to Wild Rift as well. So now let's have a look at the changes to the game itself. Elemental Dragons are returning as a separate game mode once again. And this time there are some improvements according to feedback. They like the fact that elemental terrain was triggered in 85% of all games. But they don't like the fact that Elder Dragon wasn't really played that often. To kinda fix a lot of problems at once, they will be reducing the respawn times of dragons, so you can get to Elder Dragon more often and you can also see more time with the other dragons. They will also be testing games where only one kind of a dragon will spawn so you can get stacks, and games where different kinds of dragons will spawn so you can get different buffs. They want to test everything so they can find a nice middle ground. The ability to remake games had also made it into the game. They will nullify the remade game for the innocent and punish the leavers. Connected to this, they also have their new leaver mitigation. With this new system, the innocent will lose less points and the punished will be punished even more. After this, Riot revealed a lot of new runes. There is Lethal Tempo from League, Kraken Slayer passive was turned into a keystone, same goes for Giant Slayer, there is also the good old Scorch, Nullifying Orb, Ultimate Shield which gives you shield after you cast an ultimate, Nimbus Cloak that gives you speed after casting a summoner spell, and Demolition which will help you destroy turrets. Another cool thing is that Control Ward is now a trinket. It behaves just like it does in League, but now it is in a trinket form. And now let's have a look at the skins. Following on the detective skin line featuring Senna, we are now getting Dream Raider Nasus. He is the villain of this small universe and oh my god, he looks amazing. I can already hear the people complaining, why is this not in League? And why is Riot putting so much effort into a mobile game? I stopped reasoning with these people, so for the last time, these are two totally separate teams. Both League and Wild Rift are making content for their own audiences. So if you are not playing Wild Rift, you are not the targeted audience. You can still complain in League and ask them to port it over though. Anyway, this might actually be the best Nasus skin so far. And somehow it looks like a better Crime City than Crime City. When it comes to new events, surprisingly they only mentioned one, focusing on the Cosmic skin for Master Yi and Lulu. Nothing about the Void, which is peculiar. And after that, as always, we got a skin montage. There we got Astronautilus, Sand Wraith Pike, Resistance Katarina and Misfortune, which are exclusives by the way, Majestic Empress Morgana, Forsaken Jace, Dawnbringer Riven and Nightbringer Yasuo, Pulsefire Lucian, Pulsefire Pantheon, Pulsefire Shen, High Noon Irelia, High Noon Thresh, High Noon Ashe. That almost sounded like rap lyrics. But that is it for Wild Rift and that is it for this episode of Rift News. The player of pretty much every Riot game should be happy. We got new content coming for League, TFT is in a really good place, Wild Rift is getting a lot of new content as well, Legends of Runeterra has the anniversary still going. Regardless, I still wonder who's gonna be the last edgy champion from Noxus. When it comes to Noxus, pretty much every champion there is edgy. So Riot, don't pick the one champion who's not.